Hello guys, my name is Tom Antos and welcome to the show, Filmmaking Times Live. We're going to talk about different cinematography hacks. And the reason is because I released a video a few days ago that well, some people seem to really love it, some people were kind of confused by it, so I kind of wanted to expand on it because it was a quick little video where I talked about different cinematography hacks. Normally on the show it's me and my brother Lucas. Today he's not here because we've got some family things happening that I can't really talk about. But anyways, he's busy. So yeah, let's jump right into it. So I did a video, let me kind of bring it up here so you guys can see it. Also up a whole post about it, and it was meant to be kind of a quick video talking about just giving like somebody who's especially real beginners, just kind of giving a little tip of like how the hell you know, can you achieve some of these kind of more, make your videos look a bit more cinematic, videos or photos actually. And the reason why I did it is because a lot of you guys were requesting that. So let me just here make sure everything is good here on Facebook, because I'm not getting any notifications here that it is good. I want to make sure that you guys on Facebook are also seeing me. If you're not, let me know. And those of you who are on YouTube, if you're watching, let me know where you're watching from, what time it is, and how you're doing. By the way, you know, I hope, you know, all of you, I'm not expecting anybody from Florida to really be joining me. I mean, if you are, let me know. But, you know, best of luck to you guys in Florida. I know right now you're just getting hit by Hurricane Irma, and it's like all over the news and the internet. So anyways, best of luck. I hope you guys all, you know, make it out of there without too much damage. I know that the hurricane's pretty bad. Looks at least like it's pretty bad. So hopefully you will weaken. But anyways, anybody else joining me from other places, let me know where you're joining from. And I'm gonna here just double check, make sure that Facebook is also working, because you never know. You never know with these things. Nope, it doesn't look like it is working. So I don't know, maybe let me just restart it here. Damn you, Facebook. And I got something stuck in my nose, so bear with that too. Come on, come on. Oh man, no, Facebook is not working, looks like it. So I don't know what happened, Facebook. Come on, you suck. Anyway, so those of you who are on Facebook, I guess just come join me on YouTube here, because it's apparently Facebook crapped out today. All right, anyways, so yeah, getting back to this video. So basically what I did is it's a video here. I'm going to show you guys that looks like this. It's, well, this is actually on my website here. And this is like I believe the latest post that we had. So if this is basically what it is. It was a quick video that I did with my wife, just kind of showing the common mistakes that people make. And I kind of said in there the 7 hacks. Doesn't mean that there's just 7. There's obviously way more than 7. But for the sake of this video, so it's kind of quick, easy for people to kind of congest and digest and all that stuff, and you know, whatever the term is. I just wanted you guys to kind of be able to see it and kind of see how, just, you know, in a quick way, kind of show you what it is that you can, you know, to do in order. Damn you, Carly Kloss. She always shows up here in front of my videos. I don't know why. Anyways, here I'm gonna make it full screen so you guys can see it better. And yeah, it's a quick video, just literally talking about kind of these quick little tips and hacks of that you can do to make your videos look a little bit more cinematic. And if you know, some of you, if we're saying that like well, if it's these steps are too simple, or just you don't like certain steps, or you're giving me like some tips or corrections on it, which I appreciated. But if you actually looked at how I say at the end of the video, if you want to see in detail, in depth, all the information about these hacks, then make sure you guys check out the full post on my website. And that's because I expand on it a lot more, because there's obviously, this video is only, it's like basically the video itself is like a minute, so 60 seconds. So I really expand on it on the post, and I actually talk about each point in depth, which is something you really have to do. So hold on, guys. I'm going to let you actually maybe right now quickly watch this video, for those of you who haven't seen it, just 60 seconds, and then we can talk about it, to kind of break it down. So anyways, here it is. All right, so
if you like this video, make sure you hit.
Yeah, so anyways, this is my, the outro where I actually do mention in it at the end. Like I said, go check out my website if you want to see, basically, find out more in detail about all of these points. But anyways, I'm going to break it down for you guys right now, and I'll talk about some of these other kind of tips and things like that that you can do to just get better quality videos. These are basically the tips or hacks I wanted to kind of show are things that are used or have been used for many years by many cinematographers on films. Anything that you see that looks very like filmic, very cinematic, right? Kind of more epic looking. This doesn't look like video. And when I actually did my filmmaking, what do you call it? Filmmaking course, workshop that I was doing when I traveled all over US, Canada, and Europe. That was actually a big part of what I was teaching there and what I was talking about. So I'll kind of give you guys, and as you know, that took obviously 2 days to do. Here we only have so much time on this show, but I'll try to kind of condense it and kind of get to the most important points about it. Let me here also check one last thing here on, where are we here? There we are. Okay. So yeah, point number one, and that's something that I was actually teaching and really showing in my first ever video that I did on YouTube, or like the first, I would say, official video that I did on YouTube. And that's because it's about basically getting good framing, good angles, that kind of stuff. And let me actually try to bring that video up right now so you guys can see. So you can see for yourself. Where is it? Here. Oh, there it is. Okay, so if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll actually see it. It's right there, at the bottom. And like I said, it's like when you go to the basically tutorials, learn filmmaking, I have a whole playlist. So you see all these videos in it in that playlist. And the first video in that playlist is Make Video Look Like Film, Shot Design Filmmaking Tutorial. And in this video, again, Carly Kloss. Damn it. It's like I've seen her so much, I'm just, I don't know. Yeah. I really don't need to see more of Carly Kloss. Anyways, so in this tutorial, I show some examples from some of the work that I did at the time. This is a really old video, by the way. And then I kind of jump into the tutorial, which starts like this. Basically, and also cool thing about the tutorial is I used the red camera, and I used like I forgot what it was. I think it was a Canon XL1, like just a video camera. And I kind of showing the difference that between these two different cameras, there's not that much of a difference if you pay attention to your, all these good basically cinematography techniques, you could say, hacks, tips, whatever you want to call it. So here's a shot, and just for the sake of this example, I was basically showing that what it is that what if you just have to get a shot of, let's say in this case, a girl talking on a cell phone. She's like in front of her house, for example. Well, there's many different ways you can do it. Obviously, it depends on the location, the weather you have, what kind of lighting in that place. So you got to look at all those things, because you'll never will know exactly how it's going to be until you're there on that day of shooting. And what I mean by that, it can, it could even change while it's while you're shooting. The weather could change and stuff like that. So anyways, I pan over the camera a little bit to the right, and then I kind of obviously that's not what I do when I'm actually working. I don't start recording and just pointing the camera whatever and looking for the angle. I do that before I even set up the camera, before I even bring the camera into a location. I'll start already kind of looking just with my eye and kind of seeing what's the best angle. And clearly this angle is a lot more interesting than that angle in front of her basically door here. You can see here that door just doesn't look interesting. There's these reflections and things like that. So I moved the action up here in front of the garage. There's some nice color there. There's some flower, like a pot hanging there. Now you also see a whole bunch of this crap there in the back, like this just the grass and things like that growing in the ground. And again, it's not something that's needed, right? So another thing I would say is not just the angle that you want to look at, but the composition, the framing. And that is going to dictate what kind of lenses you're going to have, how high or low you're going to put the camera. So you see in this case, I lowered the camera so that it's kind of, we're not looking down so much at this. But then the problem is that then we're not seeing the flowers. We're just seeing the white thing here. So then I'm like, well, there's no point in seeing this stuff too much. You can have something in the foreground, but you definitely don't need to see there in the background. But we have other flowers behind there. So because of that, I end up zooming in on these flowers. So basically I zoom in and I just frame her a little bit tighter so we're not seeing her basically below her belly, because it's not necessary. We just need to show a girl talking on the phone. So I mean, I could have even cropped in this close, like literally just her face if I wanted to. But again, it's just then we would just have a whole bunch of red basically there behind her. So I didn't think it was that interesting. So that's where you want to decide how much you want to zoom in or zoom out, that kind of stuff, where you place the camera. And then after that, big things obviously is, putting on makeup, the costumes, all that stuff. I mean, everything is in front of the camera is very important. So that's kind of what I show in this video. And then also the camera settings. So you can see here, I open up the aperture, get the shallow depth of field, all that stuff. There's a whole bunch of techniques that I use in here, and then color grading. So definitely check that video out if you guys are interested, if you want to kind of see how you can take a shot, and make it look like this, even though you started out with something really horrible. Like, was it here that we started? Somewhere there. Anyways, yeah, here's the opening. Yeah, starting off with this and then ending like what you saw over there. So, so that's kind of what I did again with this video that I did with my wife, that I released this week, where I just wanted to show you guys, this is what do you call it? What it takes, or basically it's not so much that, and again, I expanded on that on my actual post, and I talk about it, which maybe I'll bring up the post up here, on each of these points, and I kind of talk about the fact that these aren't the only tips or hacks or whatever you want to call these. There's plenty more, and in fact, you don't even have to use all of these. You can use other ones, or use a combination of these, or it's just really matters on what it is that you're actually getting a shot of. In the case of there with the shot basically with my wife, that's what made the most sense. So that's where that's where the kind of tips that I showed, and also because those are the most common. Because usually when you're getting shots for a film or whatever kind of film or video, you're usually going to be concentrating on people. We usually end up watching other people doing things, right? Story progressing or people talking. So because of that, those are the most common tips. Doesn't mean that you're always going to be showing that. Like for example, there's, like I said, first point is the angle and framing. Once you get that, the shallow depth of field, or should I just say knowing how to control depth of field. Again, it's not something that you always means that you always have to have shallow depth of field, because you don't. And that's, again, some of you were saying, oh my God, it doesn't mean, you shouldn't be telling people to have shallow depth of field all the time. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in this case, in the case of a portrait shot like that, shallow depth of field makes sense. So again, let me jump here into this video so you can see it, what I mean. So once you adjust the framing here, then like I said, we have the shallow depth of field. And in the meantime, let me just... Man, my nose is just running. I don't know, hopefully I'm not getting sick. So mind this, I'm gonna just blow my nose. Okay. And so yeah, so let me, before I jump to the next point, let me kind of concentrate again on shallow depth of field. So what I mean by this is that, as you can see right away, the shallow depth of field it just makes the shot look better. And the reason is because we're only having a portion of the image that's in focus, right? Meaning my wife here is in focus. Everything behind there starts going in and out of focus. Like the flag you can kind of see, but then the trees and those power lines, definitely not interesting. It's completely out of focus. So you're automatically telling the audience, here, pay attention, you know, to this person's face, right? That's what the shot is about. And those are the kind of things that you probably want to be, you know, those are the decisions that you should be making as a filmmaker, because, like I said, it's you know, these are just tools that are at your disposal, and if you got to know when to use them. Now, like I said, you don't always want to shallow depth of field. Sometimes, when you're doing, for example, you know, the most common thing, if you're doing like a landscape shot, wide shot, vista, you want to show, I don't know, maybe the cityscape or the beautiful mountains or forest, whatever it is that you're showing, where you're not concentrating on one little, you know, one thing or one subject in your shot, well, then you probably want everything to be in focus because you want the audience to pay attention to everything. It's a big wide shot. And in that case, you want, you know, a very deep depth of field. So you want, you know, achieve basically different settings or use different settings. And if you guys want actually, you know, info on how you achieve these settings, well, you can find out very easily. Again, if you go to the post about this video that I did, because in each one of these points here, I kind of expand on it. So you'll be able to see here in the article, point 2, shallow depth of field. I talk about it, and then I say, here's a tutorial on understanding and controlling depth of field. Boom, click on it, it will take you to a tutorial. So you have a whole tutorial where basically I teach and I show how you control on any camera, it doesn't matter, depth of field, what actually creates, you know, or affects the depth of field. There's a lot of misconceptions, some people don't understand everything. So anyways, you can find all of that stuff here on my website. Just follow these tutorials, and that's the reason why yeah, why you know, I did this post, kind of link back to some of these older tutorials that some of the, you know, many people are just, I guess, having problems finding because there's so many videos on my channel. So so that's the reason why. And the next point is the slow motion. Again, do you need to always have slow motion? Obviously not. But when you have a shot where, you know, let's say so nobody's talking and there's, you know, and the slow motion makes anything look more dramatic. So what I mean by that is, you know, you have a regular shot of somebody just, you know, standing there. And in the case of, you know, the shot here that I was using as an example with my wife, she's just literally standing there. That's all she's doing. There was no big scene, whatever, for a movie. It was just a test I did to show you guys. So then I figured, well, we have some wind movements. So there's a flag behind there that was moving. There's some trees there that are moving. I thought, well, instead of, because, you know, when it's just the wind would blow, we would just go like this quickly, kind of ruffle, and then it would stop. So then I figured, well, like, it makes perfect sense in this case to just shoot it in slow motion, because it's gonna make that whole flag movement and the wind a lot more visible, basically. That's the reason why I did it. Obviously, for certain sports things, if you want to slow down the action, or even just, like I said, for a lot of sequences, you can intercut even sometimes between regular and slow motion, achieve a good effect. But again, slow motion, use it when it makes sense. You're not gonna do slow motion when somebody's talking, like in the case of, well, even here, like, you know, this video, me talking to you guys was slow motion, and I was like, oh, talking so slow, you know what I mean. It would just look idiotic. So use it when it makes sense. But like I said, that's just one of the tools. Next one is the fill light. Very simple, very basic, and that just refers to a basic technique of making sure that, especially on people's faces, you don't have these really harsh shadows. Again, unless the story calls for it. There was a video I showed, I believe last week, somebody's like a horror film that somebody submitted, which, by the way, I'm going to get to your submissions in a minute, so I have some cool submissions, so I'll show those. But yeah, somebody submitted a film where it was very dark, dramatic lighting, and it was perfect for that. So there was, in that case, there was sometimes the whole face was in the shadow. But if you're doing something where it's supposed to be a nice bright day, like in the case of this example that I showed, then you don't want to have, you know, unpleasing shadows and things like that. So you want to fill those shadows in with a little bounce, and that could be any white surface, literally anything that will bounce light. White is good because it's very soft lighting. You can have even kind of silver metallic kind of surfaces that will reflect light, but it's going to be a bit more harsher. So that might actually create secondary shadows. So it's not always, you know, good to have it. But literally, in that case, I used a piece of styrofoam that we had. So that's what I used. And then, yeah, and like I said, you can use anything. It could be a piece of paper, you know, whatever. So Next thing is the soft glow effect or softening effect, and this is something actually again, some people are getting all excited about it because I show it here, and some people just didn't like, I guess, how I did it, or basically maybe they thought it was too strong. And yes, this is just showing if you're working on an indie filmmaker, no budget, you basically don't have access to any filters or anything. Well, that's how you do it, and that's how it was done actually for many years. Just a little Vaseline trick, meaning take some Vaseline, put it on a lens, and then kind of smudge most of it off with your finger or a napkin. Just leave a very thin layer of it. And don't worry, some people are saying you shouldn't do that to your lens and all that stuff. It's true. If you have expensive lenses, you might not want to do it, or especially if you're renting lenses or lenses that are not yours. But if you have, a cheap lens, whatever, in this case I had this little kit lens, it doesn't matter. But first of all, you will be able to clean it up. It's not the end of the world. I mean, these lenses, all of them, or most of the lenses these days are weather sealed, and it's not like the grease is going to go through and ruin your lens. It would maybe if you left it on with that grease forever, but once you're done shooting, just wipe it off. But yes, the best way to do it is to get a clear filter, so like a UV filter. You put it on the front of your lens, and then you can put Vaseline on that or any other type of grease. Doesn't have to be that. I mean, it could even be chapstick or literally anything you can put, even butter. I mean, you can take butter or margarine, or I can't believe it's not butter margarine. Or any of those things, and literally you apply it to the filter, the clear filter in front of your lens, and that will work great. Again, it's just I didn't show it in this video or didn't expand on it because it's a very quick video. I literally spent, I think, less than 5 seconds on showing this Vaseline trick. But in the post, I do talk about that, and that's why those of you who bother checking out the post, you'll know. Because like I said, in the post I talk about that you probably don't want to apply directly to your lens unless, again, you have no other way of doing it or you don't have a clear filter. If you have a clear filter, apply it to that. But an even better way is, and here I'm going to show it to you guys, is using a filter. And the one that I really like using is this filter here, which is from B&H. You can get it right now, and it's actually a decent price because they're usually just like over $100. When I bought my first one years ago, it was like $150 something. So anyways, there's different companies, but the one I like is from Tiffin, the Black Pro Mist. This is just 77mm. You can buy them actually 4x4, 4x5, for example, like square filters. So you can put in your matte packs, and just follow the link, and you'll find all these. Like basically here, you'll find the different variations of it that you can look on B&H. But anyways, it's called Black Pro Mist filter. What that means is that, and there's other softening filters, but basically this is a diffusion filter. This one's a quarter, basically, strength. There is 1/8. It really just depends on how strong of an effect you want. I find that the quarter is pretty good. I don't usually want to go stronger than that. And then the Vaseline trick that I showed in there is definitely stronger than this. I mean, and that's kind of, like I said, it really comes down to, because now some people said, oh, then it looks too soft or too blurry. By applying too much Vaseline, that will definitely just kind of make it look like it's out of focus. Applying very thin layer will have a nice effect, but an even better, more subtle effect is using a filter like this. But again, this is, $100 for a piece of glass. So if you're an indie filmmaker, you're probably better off spending that $100 on a good nifty 50 lens or something like that. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why I'm saying if you're just a beginner, just use anything. You can use a piece of stocking, stretch it really well over the lens. It will create a diffusion effect. But for the best diffusion effect, you want to use a filter like this. And what this filter is really going to achieve is that it's going to be, first of all, way more subtle than the Vaseline, obviously, effect. But it's going to create, and you've seen this in a lot of movies, where it's so subtle that it doesn't make it look at all like it's out of focus or foggy or things like that. It just looks like a normal shot. But where it helps is those like extreme, like, I don't know if you can see here, maybe from the studio lights, if you have like real kind of like, let's say somebody sweating or something, and you have these, highlights, or kind of blowing out, or or let's say you have lights, like some lights, if I had like, let's say here lighting, for example, behind me, the highlights are gonna kind of just glow a little bit. They're gonna be a little bit softer. The highlights, let's see, or the glaring kind of very overblown parts of your image are gonna be just a tad softened, where they just look more pleasing. And it's been used in so many films that, again, a lot of filmmakers see stuff like this, and then again in a big film, and they're like, you know, what is it that creates that kind of, like, it's still sharp, it's a nice sharp, you know, image, but yet at the same time it has this kind of a filmic quality. Well, that's actually a big part of it, is these diffusion kind of filters, and it's just a question of how much of this diffusion you want. The Vaseline is like the most crudest, simplest, cheapest way of doing it. But you know, using a like, let's say, a Black Promise filter is probably the way I would really recommend if you have the money. If you don't have the money, don't bother. You know, doesn't mean that you can't get a similar effect. You just basically, you know, use Vaseline or something else. Anyway, so that's for the glowing effect. The next thing here that we have is the light flare. And light flare, this is something that you know, here I basically show it. What is it here? Light flare, so you guys can see it. You can see it creates this little bit of this kind of a light flare here on the side. And let me actually, there's a filmmaker that I work with who's like, he's a master at doing these light flares and glares and all this stuff. And he uses all kinds of little objects and glass and, you know, pieces of filters and stuff that he'll put to achieve these effects. And there's actually one, let me find the video here. Yeah. Let's bring up the video so you guys can see. And yeah, it's this one basically. It's called Light. It's a short film that I did with him in Ecuador, and it's his name is Denny Ruan, by the way. And it's yeah, and you can see he's got all these little extra reflections here, and they're very subtle, or these like kind of flares that are, you know, very vertical, or like here you see part of the image is just kind of blurry, and then the light is kind of leaking, like all these things. It just looks really beautiful. So you know, and again, it's, you know, you don't always want it, or you don't always want it that strong, but when you do use it, it's again, you know, in the right moments, it's going to create the right effect. And this film, I think it worked. So maybe actually let me just kind of, it's a quick film, and let you guys watch it and enjoy it, hopefully, and then we can talk about the other points. So as you can see, you know, you can definitely achieve some cool effects, and you know, we don't have like any like expensive gear for this project here that you saw. That was like literally we used some old Nikon glass, and we did use the Sony FS5. That was with like early firmware and stuff like that, so it wasn't like the best codec quality and stuff. So I mean, literally you can get, and it was all shot in 1080p, so you can get that with pretty much any DSLR. Even these days, like when it comes to just the image quality. But as you saw, you can get some cool effects, you know, and when it's, again, when it's appropriate. You don't always want to use these effects. It's a combination of using them. But that's, I would say, like the one other kind of a cool effect. And then obviously the last thing is color grading. And in there actually I show color grading, but I show how you can color grade it. And then if you don't know how to color grade, then literally just slap on a lookup table or LUT. That's again, they're free, so you can find them online. Just Google for it, guys. And if you want, the one that I used actually in my here is for free too. It's like that I used in that example. It's just here. I actually have some here on my download page. So if you go to tomantosfilms.com/downloads, you can see, like, I have my photo cheats. I have these Tom Antos film stock LUTs. So these are really cool, actually, different film looks that you're gonna get with just applying these LUTs. I have a LUT for Ursa Mini, for GH5, stuff like that. So you can get all these things, but the one that I actually used was the one that you get when you sign up to my newsletter. So clickety here, go to the newsletter, sign up to a newsletter, and don't worry, those of you who are signed up, you know that I barely send out an email unless there's something cool to talk about. So it's not like I spam you every week or something like some people. I'll send out an email, sometimes even, like I said, I was kind of trying to do it weekly, but it's difficult to keep up doing it weekly. But I'll send out an email like once a month or something like that, with some news updates or some cool products or whatever, some new projects that I'm working on. And then if you sign up for the newsletter, you're gonna get a welcome kind of an email, and in that email, you're gonna get this LUT lookup table. So you're actually gonna get 3 lookup tables, and one of the ones that I used is San Diego. So those of you who have it, who signed up to my newsletter, you'll already have that lookup table. But anyways, that's how I did this. And like I said, these are things that you wanna. These are just all filmmaking tools, I would say. These different hacks or tips. There's plenty other ones, and so it really just comes down to knowing when to use what and which one, and all that stuff. So let me here actually see what you guys are saying before I show you the video submissions. What you guys are actually saying about about today's show, or like any questions or anything like that. So. Right. Can you do the light glares flares in post? You can do it. You can definitely do it in post, but I'll tell you, if they're really, really subtle, you can do them and they look pretty good. But again, it just takes more time, and it's you have to get like some kind of record these. Usually you can get these. There's different people selling them online, or companies. I don't know about these, but. Or I don't care. I don't use them myself, so I don't know exactly which ones I couldn't recommend to you. But there are out there companies that are selling like these, I guess, footage that you can get. But again, how good the quality of the footage is and how long these clips are and stuff, it might not always fit to your footage. So that's what I'm saying is, you can do it in post, but I would say for like the subtle way you're doing it in post, you can do it if you spend the time. But I think it's so much quicker in a way. And you're gonna get more of an organic, real kind of a glare effect. But you have to practice with it. Like literally take different pieces of glass or objects and put in front of the lens, like a few inches to, just experiment with it, move it closer, further, and try different angles to catch the light differently. And you're gonna see what kind of effects you can create. Because I think doing it in camera is it's gonna look always better. And that's what we did in that film with Danny, the lights. Basically everything with Danny was shot that whole film. And that's what he did. He he was using all these different pieces of glass. Sometimes I would help him hold this or there, and he'd be like, he had this little pouch he would, carry with him all these different pieces of glass and plastic. And I remember one time I actually cut my finger on it. Damn you, Danny, with your filmmaking glass. But anyways, yeah, it's actually a tool for him. What somebody else might just throw out a piece of old broken glass, then he carries with him, and he uses it in a very creative way, as you can see. So that's definitely, like I said, it's just a bunch of tools. That's really what it is. Let's see, any other questions that we have or comments? Oh man, there's so many comments. I completely missed them. I see we have live from UK, Hertfordshire, Leven, Sweden, or is it Leven, Sven, or something? Hello, Poland. It's 6 p.m. there right now. All right, you guys are really far away from this whole thing. Storm that we have here, hurricane. Atlanta, you guys get ready, right? They're saying that this hurricane might actually reach Atlanta, so hopefully we'll weaken by then. But Bengal, South Africa, we have Kolkata and India, Seattle, Chicago, Sweden, Kashmir. Oh man, so many people. Georgia, Montreal, Finland. Hello, everybody. And New York City, yes. And who else is there? Brooklyn, Italy. Man, okay, there's a lot of comments coming through. Australia. So basically, hello world. Thank you guys for joining us from all over the place. All right, let's see here. Oh yeah, I'm going to be showing. Some people are saying don't be too negative with my comments. Because I'm going to be showing some people's work and I'm going to be judging it. Not really judging it. I don't really do that. I just give you my opinion. I guess you know. At the end of the day, it's just my opinion. Anybody's opinion is just you know what they say. It's opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got them, right? Because it's true. It's just basically it's just an opinion. Doesn't really matter. What is this? Let's see here, comments that I have. Normally I have my brother here helping me with these comments, which kind of taking all the questions from all the just comments where you guys are just talking between each other, but how would you do it in, yeah, some other person is there asking how would you do those glare effects in post. Like I said, just apply some footage. I mean, there are some filters or I shouldn't say filters, I think what is it, the Magic Bullet, I think you suite has a filter in there that kind of creates these sort of different streaks and things like that effects, so you can apply stuff like that. But like I said, if you want something that's really organic, just do it on camera. I'm telling you, just get a piece of glass, you know, a broken piece of glass. Anybody can afford that. Just pick one up from the garbage if you can't. Where I'm from, somebody's asking me. Originally from Poland, if that's what you're wondering, but right now I'm in the US. Can you use Movie Studio to do artificial flares? I don't know, because I don't use Movie Studio, but yeah, if anybody's using Movie Studio, maybe leave a comment here below so people can see. What else is there here? Yeah, somebody else is here saying like how do you use these LUTs, and then somebody else replied that they need to be matched to the footage. Well, I mean, the LUTs that I give away on my website for free, or the ones that I sell, they're not, I mean, they'll kind of work pretty much with any camera, and I kind of, again, if you get the LUTs, you'll see, and I explain how you use it. But it doesn't mean that you can just apply it to any piece of footage. I mean, like, even if you had LUTs that were specifically designed for your camera, you're gonna have moments where because you cannot create like a filter or effect that's gonna work with every type of footage, because you don't know if somebody's gonna, let's say, overexpose it, underexpose it, what kind of color balance in the thing. Maybe the color balance will be completely off or things like that. So because of that, I would say you apply the LUT and you just see what it does to your image. If it looks good right there, and if you have like a nicely balanced kind of a standard shot, it's usually gonna work. But if you apply a LUT and then it's kind of looking a little bit weird, let's say it's too dark, well then just go, and that's why I always apply it, again, just follow my tutorials about the LUTs that I have, but I apply it first as, like I said, like the LUT, but I apply it on like a layer or like an adjustment layer, let's say. And then this way, if, let's say, in that particular shot, it looks too dark or something, I'll go to the original shot and just use the basic color correction tools. Like, I'll just make it brighter in that case, the shot, until it looks nicer. Or if, let's see, if the colors are like way too like brownish, reddish, let's say very warm, then I'll just take the color, temperature slider, and I'll just move it a little bit to the bluish kind of colors. That's kind of what you do, is you kind of tweak it after you apply the lookup table. But if you have, again, like a nicely sort of just like a standard balanced shot, you're gonna have usually, you apply the LUT and you're just gonna see what happens. If it looks good to your eye, that means it's good. That's all I can say. But anyways, yeah, so that's kind of, I guess what I wanted to talk about today. And next, I want to show you some video submissions. I've included the links to these in the description of the video. You can check that out. But I'm also gonna be, what do you call it? I did a little, like here in the corner, in the top right corner, you're gonna see a little exclamation mark, little like a circle. Click on that. That will take you to the poll where you can actually vote on which video that I'm showing today you like the most. And I might maybe start doing that, so this way I can get because you guys always share your opinions in the comments anyways section, but it's just kind of nice being able to, like I said, to see exactly, okay, this is what's what people are seeing, the majority basically according to percentage. So if you just click on there, it will show you then, like pick which video you like the most after you've seen them, obviously, and then you're gonna see afterwards, basically, when I'm done playing all of them, which video had the most likes. So we'll see if again, what's the audience award, we can give it away. And I have actually a gimbal. Maybe I'm going to bring it out while I'm showing the first film that I'm going to be giving away. Then I'll kind of show you guys, this gimbal. But anyways, let me play here the first video submission. So the first video submission we have is from Rem Chandra, and it's called, it's from India. I'm guessing it's India, and it sounds like an Indian name, and it looks like it was shot in India. Anyways, it's called Father's Day, or Happy Father's Day, and there's really not much info about it. It just, basically just a filmmaker submitted it. I'm guessing he's a director. I think that's what he said here. Yep, he's so Rem is the director of it, and it just, little tagline for the project, for the film, is just, some relations do not need any name. They are just formed out of love and respect. So, there. Take it for what it is. So, I'll let you guys watch this right now.
Call you later. Yeah. Yes, sweetheart.
Happy Father's Day, Papa!
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You made my
Love
day?
you!
Love you too, sweetheart. Let's go for movie and shopping.
Yes!
Come.
अंकल, ये गुलाब का फूल कितने का है?
10 रुपए का।
अंकल दीजिए एक। नमस्ते आंटी।
हेलो बेटा, तुम? तू यहाँ?
हैप्पी फादर्स डे।
क्या डे?
कुछ नहीं माँ। I love you.
सलाम उन माओं को जो एक माँ और पिता दोनों का रोल अदा करती हैं। हैप्पी फादर्स डे माँ।
All right, there, I'm back. So yeah, thank you for the submission. It's very nice actually to see, you know, a film with just like a nice positive message. There's a, you know, I mean, I enjoy my you know, every so on like a horror or some crazy action film, but I think in general as humanity, kind of as we move forward, develop, I think we're seeing that people want more just this kind of nice, positive kind of messages and just entertainment. Like we don't really people don't seem to be as thrilled anymore by these like scary and some negative stories or things like that. So it's really nice to kind of to see that thing. It's a very nice, positive message, and that's I wanted to kind of start the show or start these submissions off with this one simply because it's like I said, because it kind of sets, I think, the right mood. And later on, we do have some dark material that might scare the shit out of you. But anyways, if it doesn't, then stick around to the end of the show. And by the way, like I mentioned, I'm going to be giving away. Here's a gimbal. This one's from Fayutech, but it's not for everybody. So this is for iPhone 5, I think, or oh no, I think it's just for any iPhone. I think it works with. Yeah, iPhone 5, 6, 7, and the new one I think is going to be coming out. It's just up to a certain size. I forgot what it is. But it's anyways, it's going to work with iPhones. It's a 3-axis gimbal. It's a full gimbal, has a remote, all that stuff. So those of you who are interested, definitely stick around if you want to find out how you can get this gimbal. So I'm going to put it here next to my dog. She's here helping me, taking care of the show. Say hello. Hello. Hello guys, I'm very bored. As you can see, she's not excited by today's submissions. I don't know why. You don't like the videos? No? Alright, anyways. So yeah, very nice film. And what I like about it actually was the fact that you used nice locations in this thing. Like it just looked interesting, kind of really, you know, shows India, I guess. So it shows that neighborhood at least. But it also has interesting angles. I really love that. I don't know what lens you used, a wide angle, but you still managed to get a relatively shallow depth of field. So you get this distorted view, but at the same time you're getting a nice close-up kind of a portrait shot where you're kind of focusing still on the girl's face. So there's a lot of cool angles like that. Well edited. There was a few shots here and there that I just thought, you know, you could have just do without it. But yeah, but otherwise, I mean, you know, seeing you working with obviously a limited budget and the fact that you pulled off you know, and actually managed to tell a story in 4 minutes. So that's a very nice thing. So thank you for the submission. So now let's look at the next submission we have is from Rainies, and it's well, that's the one I was basically saying it's going to be very, very negative. The title, I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce it. It's in another language, but the Rainies is the director, editor, colorist, sound and producer. Basically looks like he did everything. And yeah, and now get ready to go from an ultimate high, happy, this and that to dark and you know, anyways, in the underworld. We can kind of talk about the message of this video afterwards. So here it is. What's the title? Ungnus something. So anyways, let you guys watch it.
brutāls izceltnes bārums liekas. Naktas gaisma brīva un iela. Jāsliekas, ķerat man labo āķis. Sprunguļi spraigā ugunskludzienā keikā. Tu zinās savu.
Anyways, I'm not gonna attempt to hip-hop dance here, but yeah, I mean, very nicely shot video, you know, a very sad, I would say, well, not so much sad, but a very dark kind of a setting, which, you know, it tells a message. I mean, I think the message is pretty clear. Somebody wanting to get into entertainment industry and then becomes Mr., you know, hot shit and all that stuff, but he basically sells his soul, I guess, to the devil or to the dark side. So whether such a thing exists or not, I don't know. I'll leave it up to you guys in the discussion, but as a video itself, it's, I think, very, very well, I think, shot. It's I like the use of the dark, the basic negative space where you have, like even here at the end, like with these little jump cuts. Here, just kind of show you guys, like here, where he's in this this alley, and then it kind of just jumps back and forth, and then you see like this outline of him. So he's there, and then you see like there, back and forth, and how you're using this kind of a brighter background, but you just see the outline of him, and it just, again, takes him, puts him in this kind of a, you know, just a dark space. So as a video, it's very well done. I think I actually like the editing, and what I like is that it's a message, right, that you're sending out there, that and you got the message across loud and clear, and you did it, you know, without boring the audience, meaning the pacing works. It's like, you know, and that's something I will give you guys as a tip is especially for those of you who are entering the Film Convert competition, which is on right now, by the way. You can enter, you can win like thousands of dollars worth of some amazing gear from all kinds of companies, cameras, things like that, audio gear. So Film Convert competition, I posted about it on my Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff, so check that out if you want. I'll post it again after the show is over on my Facebook and Twitter. But you can enter the competition. I'm one of the judges under the fictional, basically drama or creative category. So I'll be judging those films, short films. And if you want, you know, definitely, you know, just want to, I would say, catch every, you know, all of the judges' attention. But if you want to catch my attention, if you want to win that category, make sure your pacing is on point. And what I mean by that is that if you have a story that only takes 30 seconds to tell, only spend 30 seconds. I mean, sometimes there's videos that I've seen from people that are, it's like, it's a cool concept, beautiful shots, but then they just stretch it to freaking 10, 20 minutes, and it just gets boring. I mean, if there's not enough moving in the story or not enough of a message to tell, then don't, you know, if you can tell that message again in 5 seconds, make your video 5 seconds. If it takes an hour to tell the full story, then spend an hour. But like I said, in here, it's a very simple concept. You get it right away. It doesn't bore the audience, and that's the most important thing. Is if at the end of the day, what doesn't matter whether it's a commercial, music video, or film, you're always trying to tell a story, right? Drive some point across. So if you want to really achieve that, you're not going to achieve it just by embellishing and adding extra flair and things and extra shots or scenes that are not necessary, because you're just going to bore the audience. If you want the audience to get your message, get your story, get your point across, you want to get it to them as fast as possible. Now, sometimes that requires to be, you know, 20, 30, 40 minutes, whatever. But if it does not require, you know, that much time, then again, just, you know, right now we're no longer living in this kind of, I would say, feature film world where every film has to be 2 hours, whatever, because back in the day, that's kind of what they had to do to fill out, you know, movie theaters and stuff. Now there's a lot of filmmakers making money and selling their work online. And like I said, or just, you know, monetizing in many other ways, but showing the films online. And especially online, you want to catch somebody's attention right away and just get to the point, basically. So that's the great thing about this video. Anyways, now I'm going to jump to the next video, next submission that we have. And remember, for, if, you know, vote. Top right corner here, you're going to see the little icon. Click on it, and then you can vote which film you like the most, or which video. So next one here is effect, or is it? Well, I'm not gonna talk about the film. Let you guys see it first, so you can then tell me what you think.
This is where I live. That's my dog. Well, at least it used to be. Until I picked up my horrible habit. When you're doing drugs the first time, you're not sure if you're feeling adventurous, confused, or just plain down stupid because it didn't kick in yet. This shit kicks immediately. Almost anything you smoke does. It felt as if something worse is coming. I could feel it, see it in my dreams. In South Africa, many folk tales will tell you of an evil spirit. A spirit that will be summoned by someone who wants to put a curse on you. Strangely enough, many addicts claim to have seen this creature. So I guess it's safe to say that making a choice to poison my body with drugs, I literally put a curse on myself and riddled my life with evil spirits and demons. Truth is, drugs take you high, extremely high. Well, most drugs, that is. After that, it drops you into the pit of hell. I'd sleep for 2 days, wake up, and back to meth. Back to my horrible habit. Back to my horrible habit.
Anyways, my horrible habit, that's what it's called. Yeah, so anyways, what do I think about this film? There's some good and bad things, but I'll tell you that number one tip, you know, there's some cool stuff like I like when the camera kind of zooms in the background, you know, it's doing that whole effect, or the little effect with the eyes and stuff. But in general, I think there was too many special effects in this film, and in a low budget, number one tip I'll give you is stay away from special effects. You can't. Special effects require a lot of time, a lot of knowledge, you know, and usually a team of people. So unless you can afford to get these people, don't attempt to do special effects on a low budget, or especially like the kind of more advanced special effects, because there's one shot, specifically the one at night, where you see the really bad keying of the leaves and all that stuff, and then you're seeing that little, you know, whatever it's supposed to be, I guess I don't know, bats or something flying at night. Here, let me just cut it so you guys can see. Like you see, this shot looks nice. And it's like a simpler effect, so that's the thing. But this, for example, then you jump to this and it just looks horrible. And one thing I always say is, you can have an amazing looking video, but if you put one bad shot, your video is gonna only be as good as the worst shot in your video. So keep that in mind. So basically, you don't really, you know, like I would have just replaced this. There was some other in-camera tricks you did afterwards where, you know, like you have this kind of shadow, kind of the delay basically when the guy's walking, things like that. I mean, I would have just stuck more to that kind of stuff. You can still convey the right emotion and you know, basically that you're going for in this film, without downgrading the overall quality, because then you're kind of like, you're watching it and there was some cool shots at the beginning and then boom, you show that horrible effect shot and it just makes you want to kind of cringe. So that's my advice. Said some great things, but then there's also some horrible things in here. All right, next submission is from Jacob Strassi. He's the director of photography, editor, colorist, sound producer, basically did everything, you know the drill. And yeah, he was basically just experimenting, and he shot this little, it's not really like a story, but he achieved this little kind of a cool effect. So I'll just show it to you guys and let you kind of watch it, and then we can talk about it. So here it is. there you have it. What I like about it is that you created this kind of I guess that's what it's actually called, a toy effect, with using the time lapse here. So and that is very kind of neat, is that you basically use time lapse to kind of make it, and I think it's not even just the time lapse, but the sound. That's what I like, is that you took the sound, and it's a very simple, relatively, video. I mean, anybody literally waiting at the airport, could shoot stuff like this, I guess, out the window. It's just being creative, playing around with the different options and tools they have in your camera, and just sometimes that's what filmmakers. I think as filmmakers, we wait too many times for like some big epic project to come along, and otherwise we're not shooting anything. Literally, you can just jump in and, like, while you're traveling or doing anything, just even shoot something on your phone and experiment, try different things, because you never know what you're gonna get. What I like in this little example is that he used the time lapse, but also the sounds. I love, like, for example, when the airplanes pull up and you get these sounds, and then you have the people coming down, the stairs. Like, the sounds really add to it, really create that toy effect. Another thing I would have loved to see you do, I think it would have really helped, is using tilt shift lenses, something like the what is it, the cheap one. God, I forget the name now. Anyways, I did a video about it, but yeah, these kind of like the Lens Baby Pro, Lens Baby, basically composer. Those are like the ones that I use, at least. They're very, very cheap lenses, like $100. You can get the or even under, I think, 100 right now on B&H. And it's a great tilt shift lens that's going to help you with getting this kind of an effect to really look like miniatures, because it would have, like, the fact that you sped it up and you added those sounds really makes it look kind of like this miniature kind of a toy effect. But by adding this tilt shift kind of out of focus effect, you're going to really make also the space feel just smaller, so it will look almost like it's like macro photography, that you just happen to zoom in, because you're going to have everything kind of going a little bit out, let's say, out of focus, and this way out of focus too. So or you can just do similar things with lens walking too, so take the lens off and just hold it in your hand and just tilt it like that. But yeah, that's, I would say, the next thing that probably you want to add to it, and then maybe you can create a whole film that looks like you filmed the whole world, maybe from a rooftop or something. Maybe it's a challenge to you guys. Let's see who can do it first. Do like a little film where kind of showing our world as if it was like this little miniature, almost like a little, I don't know, game or kind of something, strategy game. Might be a cool video. So that's one thing to look at. Anyways, let's look at the last video here, which is from Jesse Koivukovsky. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. He was director of photography, editor, colorist, sound, all that stuff. And it's literally just home video that he shot, and he wanted to kind of make it look more, I guess, cinematic. So here it is. There you have it. So Jesse, great job. And actually, I forgot to mention that Jesse also did the music for this. So if music sounded great, what I would just say is that you had some nice shots there, nice little subtle camera movement, nice angles. I'm guessing those, that's your family or kids. Nice shots of your kids. But to me, the shots themselves, like when I first watched it and before the music kicked in and all that stuff, I was just kind of, it gave me a happy feeling. It looked like a bunch of happy kids and a nice setting and all that stuff. The music, it was like very nice, but very dramatic, very dark. So it just, the two didn't fit together for me. That's my things. I would have maybe use your music in another type of setting in another type of film that you do. And for this one, I would have just done something a bit more positive. That's my opinion. Again, like I said, it's just my opinion. One of, we all have them, so it doesn't make it any more special. But that's what I think. But anyways, all of you guys who watched it, let me know, or I guess let everybody know, including here, whether it's Jesse or all the other filmmakers that we had, what you think of these films. Again, top right corner here, you just click on the little, circle, whatever, exclamation mark icon, and choose basically very quickly. Click on it and you choose the film that you think was the best today. And I'm going to talk about actually this thing before I finish. So, Phoebe, come on, you're supposed to help me. My dog's feeling lazy. Yeah. Okay? I think she wants the show to be over too. So, I'll get through it quickly. Like I said, Fayutech, gimbal. There's a whole bunch of other gimbals that I have that I'm also going to be giving away. Now, if I'm going to give this away, I want to give it away also first of all to somebody who actually, wants this, because I don't want to give it to somebody and then turns out the person doesn't even have an iPhone, like me. Like, I have an iPhone, but I don't really use an iPhone, so why the hell would I use this gimbal too? Whether it's a good gimbal or bad gimbal, I can't tell you, because, like I said, I don't really use my iPhone for anything other than some, things I need to do for work. But so I thought I didn't even bother opening this one, but I saw some videos about this gimbal online. Looks like a decent gimbal, so I thought I would just give it away to you guys. So best way I think I would do it is basically maybe next week, but let me know in the comments below, once the video is done, and then because once the live stream is done, then all the live comments disappear. It's one thing, that really sucky thing that YouTube does. I don't know why they can't keep the original comments. But once the video is posted, after it's, the live show is over, post and let me know first of all who would want this this gimbal. And I gotta, because I didn't even talk to my brother, my assistant here, to basically figure out how the hell we're gonna give this away, because because it does take time on our part. I have to actually get somebody to figure out the shipping and all that stuff. Now, by the way, you will have to. I'm gonna make it available to worldwide. So literally, you live in freaking Antarctica, we can send it to you, but you're gonna have to pay for the shipping, because when we, if we did it just in the U.S., then we can pay for the shipping, because we know kind of what to expect. But there's some places where people sometimes won awards and stuff, and then we turns out it's $500 to ship a package over there. It's ridiculous. So anyways, you guys are responsible for the shipping. You'll pay for the shipping. But anyways, if you're interested, then let me know in the comment section below, what do you think we should do? Should we do a contest maybe like this, where you guys submit videos and then people vote on it by the end? Or maybe, I don't know, or maybe some video that I picked that I think is my favorite, or how we did it last time, where literally we had a question and you guys have to answer the questions. Whoever answered the question first live gets the prize. So let me know, because this is again just one of many gimbals that we'll be giving away, and plus other cool stuff that we'll have coming up over time. So number one thing to remember is, like I said, let me know how you guys think I should give this away, and also just continue watching the show. If the show grows and we get more people watching, then there's going to be even more cool stuff to give away, because we're going to have more companies sending in cool stuff like this to basically as a giveaway. So thank you, Fayutech, for sending this one in. And I actually did a review of their gimbal, the Fayutech A2000, kind of comparison to some of the other handheld gimbals. So check that out if you haven't already. It's a great sort of a all-around pistol grip style gimbal. And I'm actually doing now a full kind of a review of just their gimbal, plus some other gimbals that they recently released. So check that out if you want to find out about some other cool stuff that Fayutech is producing. Anyways, that's it for the show. Again, see you guys, I guess, next week, Sunday noon Eastern time, New York or Toronto or whatever it is. Just check your time, check where you are, and because you guys are all over the world, which is cool. But I just can't keep up with all the different time zones. So noon or 12 o'clock Eastern time, U.S. Standard Eastern Time to something. I think that's how it goes. Anyways, I'm rambling now, so I'm gonna finish. My name is Tom Antos, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.